What if, tomorrow morning, you woke up and money was gone? No cash, no bank accounts, no crypto. Only one kind of currency remains: energy. Not metaphorically, literally. Your phone charge is your wallet. Your steps, your breath, your body heat, your income. And the people who own the biggest batteries suddenly own the world.
It could all start with the global blackout. Not an hour, not a day, 48 hours. 2 full rotations of a planet plunged into silence and darkness. The silence is what you'd remember most. The hum of the grid? Gone. The glow of the city? Gone. Governments scrambled, their digital currencies vanishing into dead servers. The stock market wasn't crashing, it simply ceased to exist. In that void, a single desperate idea caught fire, spreading from one panicked broadcast to the next. Value must be tied to something real again, something measurable, something universal. Humanity chose energy. Suddenly, the world was remade. Every device, every home, every single human body was integrated into a vast new economic system. Energy meters, small and sleek, were strapped to wrists, replacing credit cards and cash. Think about buying a coffee. You wouldn't pay $2, you'd transfer 0.007 kilowatt hours from your personal account to the cafes. Just enough energy for the machine to grind the beans and heat the water.
At first, there was a sense of profound relief, even celebration. It felt fair. Energy is everywhere, isn't it? Every living thing generates it. Every action uses it. The sun provides it for free. For a few brief weeks, it seemed like the great equalizer. But physics is a harsh accountant. The cracks in the utopia appeared quickly. Those who already owned the means of production, not for goods, but for power, became the new gods. Owners of sprawling solar deserts in Nevada, vast offshore wind fields in the North Sea, they weren't just billionaires anymore. They were something else entirely. They didn't hoard money, they hoarded power. Literally. Their vaults weren't filled with gold bars, but colossal battery banks, humming with stored sunlight and captured wind, glowing like futuristic temples. They controlled the flow. They set the price.
Meanwhile, the poor, the majority, those without solar panels on their roofs, without land to build on, without even the latest energy-efficient devices, they were left with the only resource they truly owned: their bodies. A new form of labor was born. People jogged for wages on kinetic treadmills. Entire stadiums were converted into massive energy gyms where thousands of cyclists pedaled in unison, their faces grim with effort, earning a few watt-hours an hour, barely enough to keep the lights on back home, enough to power a small screen for their kids, but not enough to cook a hot meal without going into energy debt. And with that, the very laws of the universe became the laws of society. Physics became economics. A person's value is no longer their skill or their kindness or their intellect. It was their metabolic efficiency. How much energy could they generate versus how much they consumed? Efficiency became the new morality. Leaving a light on wasn't just wasteful, it was a financial crime. A leisurely walk was a squandered earning opportunity. In this new world, this perfectly logical, perfectly brutal system, this was only the beginning. The real question wasn't about keeping the lights on anymore. It was about what happens when the energy stored in a human body becomes the most valuable commodity on the open market.
Imagine walking into a store. You see something you want: a jacket, a hot meal, a train ticket home. But before you can even reach for it, you check your wristband. Not for your bank balance, but for your remaining charge. The soft glow of the numbers dictates your life. Every choice drains you. Every small indulgence has a measurable physical cost. Everything you own, everything you do becomes a constant negotiation with your own future energy needs. Society became obsessed with what they called net positive living. Sleep schedules were ruthlessly optimized for maximum energy retention. Breathing techniques were taught in elementary schools, not for mindfulness, but for metabolic efficiency. Your every movement, every step, every gesture was tracked, measured, and ultimately monetized. At first, it seemed empowering. We were told our bodies had become valuable again in this strange primal way. We were the power source.
We were the economy. But then the cracks began to show. A quiet biological truth that couldn't be ignored. They called it the efficiency divide. Some people's bodies just converted calories into electricity better than others. They earned more simply by existing. Your personal genetics became financial leverage. A lucky roll of the DNA dice meant a life of warmth and light. An unlucky one did not. Soon enough, companies were buying the rights to your metabolic data the moment you were born, charting your entire economic potential before you could even walk. Your whole life predetermined by the quiet hum of your own cells. And where there is desperation, a black market will always appear. People sought any edge they could get in a system rigged from birth. They called it energy doping, people injecting swarms of nanobots to boost their microvoltage output, trading their long-term health for a few extra watts. Illegal exosuits, clunky and dangerous, promising to amplify every small movement into precious charge.
And on the other side of that market, the energy thieves, huddled behind abandoned buildings, selling stolen power through hacked charging cables. A desperate, parasitic ecosystem grew in the shadows of the gleaming towers of the energy rich. A society built on optimizing human life was now pushing people to break their own bodies just to survive. And that's when the protest began. Not with a bang, but with a flicker. Millions marching through the streets, their wristbands glowing dimly, a collective symbol of their exhaustion. They held signs, their voices weak but unified, chanting one simple demand: a universal minimum charge allowance. Nobody, they shouted, should be left in the dark. They meant it literally. But the corporations, the architects of this new world, disagreed. Their logic was cold, simple, and brutal. If energy is currency, then giving it away for free is economic suicide. And so the world grew colder. The lights of the city burned brighter for some, casting longer, deeper shadows for everyone else. A world powered by humanity that had somehow forgotten how to be humane.
In this kilowatt economy, physics rules everything. The old gods of finance are dead. Their temples of glass and steel, now just monuments to a forgotten faith. The laws of thermodynamics have replaced them. Think about that. Energy is the only thing that's real. You can't fake it. You can't inflate it with a keystroke. You can't print more when you find yourself in debt. And so, the world changed. Economists had to learn thermodynamics. Politicians were forced to become engineers. The entire planet reorganized itself around a single, brutal question. How much energy is a human life worth? Some nations bloomed. Those blessed with geothermal oceans and endless sunlight became the new empires. Others simply collapsed, drowning in an energy poverty so profound it was a death sentence.
Borders weren't drawn by culture or politics anymore. They were drawn by the path of the sun and the direction of the wind. A map of the world was now a map of watts and joules. And as that divide between the energy rich and the energy poor grew into a chasm, a new idea began to spread. A dangerous whisper passed in the dark. If energy is the ultimate value, then what about the energy stored inside us? What about the intricate electrical storms inside the human brain? What about the steady, powerful beat of the heart? People spoke of a coming era, an age of scientific perfection, where even our emotions, fear, excitement, love, could be harvested for their microwatts. A new kind of exploitation. Humanity was at a crossroads. Would we evolve into hyper-efficient beings, every thought and feeling measured and optimized, or would we be reduced to simple, living batteries? And then, something unexpected happened. A breakthrough. Scientists discovered a way to stabilize energy sharing between people.
It was a tiny implant. A simple piece of tech that allowed you to wirelessly send a piece of your own life force to someone else, instantly, seamlessly. A parent could push the remaining charge to their child to get them through the night. A stranger on the street could keep another stranger's heart beating with a simple thought. Communities began to pool their energy, gathering their collective power like ancient tribes around a fire. Suddenly, for the first time, the wealthy found themselves hopelessly outmatched. It wasn't by bigger batteries or more efficient solar farms. They were outmatched by the simple power of people helping each other. People united, people shared, people rebelled. And the corporations, the great titans of this new world, stared at this uprising and realized something absolutely terrifying. In a world where energy is the only currency, connections are priceless.
We think of money as paper or numbers on a screen. But what if our currency was tied to something real, something physical that powers every single thing we do? The idea isn't just theory. Proposals are already on the table for currencies backed by the very minerals that store and conduct energy. It raises huge questions. How would you store your wealth? A battery in the basement? And would energy-rich nations become the new superpowers, leaving others in the dark? The logistics are staggering, but the core idea forces us to rethink value itself. So, what if energy truly became our currency? Maybe we'd become more conscious, more efficient, more aware of every watt we use. Or maybe we'd finally learn that the greatest energy in the universe isn't solar or wind or geothermal. It's human connection, the only power source that grows when you give it away. If money vanished tomorrow and kilowatts took its place, what would you spend your energy on?
Share your thoughts in the comments. I'd love to hear your opinion. If you enjoyed the video, give it a like and subscribe so you don't miss the next What If.